Okay, so now we are recording. So 3 ohms. Yes, thank you. So we have been doing these practices now for 2 days, and other than the 2 sessions here online, hopefully some of you have been able to do once or twice on your own. And if you have been able to expel phlegm, that's very good. Shiny Bhatt says, should we avoid this practice in periods? No, I don't think there should be any problem with the practice during periods. Just go a little mild, go a little gentle. That's all. But no need to avoid, I think. Yeah. Okay. So we'll talk for a while. Maybe I'll unmute you for a while. And if anybody wishes to say anything, you can say it, and then we'll start our breath work. Okay, so Chaitra ji is saying practicing every day in the morning. Okay, excellent. Yeah, anybody wishes to share anything, you can type it down or you can speak it out. Both are okay. Prakash Raj says, I'm sure I have phlegm because I can feel the wheezing, but I could not expel the phlegm. So Prakash ji, maybe your phlegm is old, and you'll need to continue with these practices for some time before the phlegm starts dislodging from wherever it is. Old phlegm tends to be sticky, so it's a little harder to move and it takes time. But just keep doing it, and I'm sure it'll start coming out. So you have 2 techniques that I shared with you: the huffing breath, and then followed by the complete yogic breath, and you know what to do then. So if you do these, you should do well. Can I do Nasya with these practices after this? No. I see no reason why you can't. I haven't done it, but I don't see any reason why it'll come in the way. Sinasya is when you put something inside your nose and you pull the string and you pull it out, right? So there should be no problem. I do my neti, but usually my neti is before, so uh, no problem. In fact, it helps me keep my system clear, my respiratory system clear, and my breathing is so much better than it has been. In fact, just last night I was comparing with some time ago when I used to feel a little congestion and so on, but it's so much better with all the breath work and the Shvasko Shuddhi Kriya. So Shvasko Shuddhi Kriya is a great way to cleanse your lungs and your nadis. But if you want to go deeper, there are other practices also. And my other participants in the breathwork sessions that we have, they are, able to cleanse the lungs, the nadis, and move their energy up the spine and so on. And hopefully they're getting good results. Still a work in progress. It takes time, but okay. Pinky ji says I do nasya with oil. That's excellent. What kind of oil do you use for nasya? Abhilasha ji says Nasi is putting oil in the nostrils. Okay, okay, okay. So what do you call the system when you put a rope through the nose and move it through the Anutel? Oh, Sutra. Oh, that's called
Sutraneti.
Sutra Neti.
Sutraneti.
Okay, okay, okay. Very good. Yeah. So these are practices that I've not learned, I've not tried, so I don't know. And Nasya with the oil also I haven't tried. No, no, Nasya I do. I pour oil into my nostrils, but I didn't know that was called Nasya. Okay. So one lives and learns.
Yes, sir. We do nasya with oil, and I normally use oil according to season. Like
Okay.
in winter, I use till oil or mustard oil.
I think you should
Or,
write this in the chat box so that others can also see it. And later, people who view the recordings, they can also understand which oil is good for which time of the year. And that will
sure,
be a
sir.
good service to everybody. Okay. Uh, it's an Ayurvedic. Yeah, I know it's an Ayurvedic process. It's not Neti. What is not Neti? Nasya is not Neti. Is that right? Okay, okay, okay. Right. All right. So let's start with our breath work. If you prefer, if you like, you can sit in Vajrasan. I'm going to sit in Vajrasan. In Vajrasan, your breath, sorry, your belly is uh, freer rather than when you are sitting in Sukhasan, Siddhasan, Padmasan, etc. Padmasan, of course, is pretty good, but otherwise, Vajrasan is also very good. Right, let's start. We'll take a slow, deep breath in and huff 3, 4, 5, or as many times as we can. Get out as much air, cleanse the lungs of stale air, and then if any phlegm or mucus comes, we expel it. Please remember, I use, for example, a spittoon like this. You can use a spittoon, or if you don't have it handy, you could use a bowl or something. Okay, slow, deep breath in. And if you can channel the breath up your spine, even better. So when you do this, if you sense a sound coming from your chest in your breath, it's a sign that there is a fair amount of phlegm that needs to come out. If there is almost no sound, if the sound is very clear, that means you are relatively free of phlegm in your lungs, and that's a good thing. So continue, even if you think it's free of any contaminants or phlegm, you may continue anyways. Uh, Today is the third day. We are going to add a little extra something to the practice. The something that we are going to add now is when you do the huff, when you expel the air after 2 or 3 exhales, when you feel you have emptied your lungs pretty much, squeeze from different parts. So as if one time you squeeze in the lower part of your lungs, lower right. Next time, maybe upper right, lower left, upper left. Try these techniques, different kind of squeezes with the huff. Try and then share with me if you notice anything. Okay, take a slow deep breath in. First breath goes out fully. Stop. I push from the left side of my lungs. Right side. Lower right. Lower left. This chest, upper chest, throat area. Breathe in. So try to squeeze one more time and tell me how you feel. So somebody saying couple of queries after one inhales first time. Do you force exhalation? Do we have to inhale again and huff to expel? No, 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 no. There is a certain amount of forcing because you are huffing out the air. So there is a certain amount of pressure. But new participants, those who haven't kind of felt that the body is able to take it, need not use too much pressure. So gentle pressure to start with. As your body is able to handle it well, there is nothing troubling you, there is no difficulty, you add pressure. After the first half, you do not take a breath in. First, second, third, fourth, depending on how much you are able to do. Do not inhale between the halves. Inhale only after one cycle of halves, 4, 5, whatever number. There is no fixed number. So I'm not going to tell you, you must do this many. Okay. Second query, is this exercise pure empty stomach or what should be the gap? I have told you earlier, I've shared this with you. Try to give at least 3-4 hours gap between meals and this practice, this kriya. I hope that is clear. It's so difficult to focus the squeezing on a certain part. Yes, Chitraji, initially everything feels difficult. Remember, our body, our mind is always resistant to anything new. That is why in Adhyatma, overcoming this kind of resistance, accepting different kinds of things is such an integral part of sadhana. So doesn't matter, try it again. You keep trying it, suddenly you'll find it's happening and it's happening very well. I could do it very well, says Vijay Lakshmi. That's excellent. How to huff from left or right side. It's an internal thing, Triparna. You'll have to mentally, as if you're squeezing here. See, no, there is no, it's not like somebody else is going to put pressure for you. It's just that you are telling your body to do it. Your mind tells your body does it. Just like when you walk, your mind tells your body you take a step. It's just the same thing. Your mind tells your body that there is going to be a squeeze here. The squeeze will happen there. It's an amazing system you've got. I hope that's clear. Practice, practice, continue practicing. I'll keep talking, you keep practicing. I'll keep addressing these questions. Pinky Soni says, couldn't squeeze any part voluntarily. Don't force it. If it happens, but you try every once in a while. Okay, Shah, thanks for the clarification. Chitra, sure, sir. Prakash, isn't huffing similar to Simha Garjana? I'm not familiar with the Sim Garjana, but I know the Simha breath where you stick out your tongue and you huff out like this. So in that it is similar, but it is not similar in the sense you huff out once, you stop and huff out again without breathing again. So there is a difference there. Yeah, sometimes you can actually stick your tongue out as well, and not only stick your tongue out to the left, to the right, different directions. Try that as well. I hope that clears that answers your question, Prakash ji. Thank you, Triparna. Shiny, but could do from lower part of lungs, not much from upper part. Doesn't matter, let it happen over time. No forcing. Couldn't squeeze. Manisha is saying, couldn't squeeze. Will you teach how to squeeze? No, I cannot teach you how to squeeze. I can tell you what I do. So when I wish to squeeze, I just wish to squeeze and my body does it. So it's like my mind is instructing the body and the body is doing it. Like I said, sometimes the body, or very often the body, does not want to do something new. So just be gentle with it. Try it. It'll happen. Okay. It seems similar to Mukh Dhoti. Okay, that's interesting. What is Mukh Dhoti? Chitra Punraj, maybe I don't know about that. Okay, Mukh Dhoti. Okay, very interesting. So what is similar? Pushing from the different parts of the lungs. Is that the one?
Uh, s- only difference is we don't keep the tongue on the upper palate there. It is just and also we inhale deeply and then expel the air forcefully through our mouth, just we did through huff. Usually when our heart rate is very high, we do that after warm-ups and maybe
Okay.
15-20 minutes of high intense warm-ups, we can do that Mukhadoti. It's very similar to what we did, except
So
that
it
we are
is
here focusing here on a different squeezing and all, nothing like that. We just try to expel once for one inhalation, one exhalation.
no, but in the Swasko Shuddhi Kriya, we have to do the exhales a number of times. So please
Yes.
don't mix up things.
Yeah. No, it is just
Yes.
the technique once will be similar to that. That's all. The way
Okay,
we push, expel. Yeah.
Yeah, because whatever I'm doing is, I mean, everybody breathes. So it's not like, my breath is a special breath. But it's just that I've seen a few things and I've shared those things. You mean we need to concentrate on different parts of the huffing, right, Pinky Soni? Yes, pretty much. Okay.
Sir, can you show once? I mean, I want to see whether your shoulder comes up when you squeeze the top portion of your lungs. I mean, is
Okay.
that happening?
Okay, watch. Yes, Chitra, did you notice anything?
There was no difference, sir. I couldn't
Okay. But I'll
physically
tell
see
you,
anything. Yeah.
when I was doing it, I could feel that my shoulders moved a little to the front. That's the sense I got. A little to the front.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay, welcome. After third round, I could feel phlegm coming out. I could squeeze the stomach. Okay, Meghna, good. If the phlegm is coming out, that is precisely what we wish. I'm feeling something at crown of head, numbness, kind of. What is that? Ashwini ji, this numbness should not happen. Take a break. There's no reason why you feel numbness. You can feel a little heady, a little meditative, but numbness, I don't know. I have no idea of that. But like I've said, if it is anything discomforting, break and then try again after some time. You mean we need to concentrate on different parts of huffing? I've answered that. Mugdhoti, I've answered that. Can you please show once? Okay, I've shown that. Okay, very good. After 2 days, today mucus has started coming out. Anjana Tandon. Okay, very good, Anjana ji. Excellent. Right. So let's continue with this. Same, but with a little squeeze of the lungs in different parts. You can try in the first squeeze. After the first squeeze, you can try the whole thing squeezed. Pressure at first gentle, over time more and more. After you've done it, after you've done the whole chest, you can start focusing on different areas. I say different areas because the lungs are all the way from here till almost what, 9 inches, a little more, maybe 10 inches, and 2 lungs with 5 lobes. So it occupies a fair amount of area. And because in our modern day, especially in city life, our breathing is the one thing which has just not kept up with what it should have kept up. Our lifestyle is sedentary. We do not do as much physical work. So the whole lung does not, both the lungs do not get all the exchange of air, the exercise that they require to stay healthy. So definitely over time, they weaken, they lose their elasticity, they lose their ability to hold more air and so on. In one of my sessions earlier, I used to bring a balloon and blow the balloon, take a full breath and then blow into the balloon to see how much air it was filling. So it's a good way to see how much your lung capacity has increased or decreased over time. Yeah, please continue. So if you've noticed, if you can hear when I'm doing the huff, when I was doing it initially, there was almost no sound. This time there was a little bit of a whistle. So that means something is getting dislodged somewhere and moving up. Okay. So should we do the whole lungs at the same time? Squeeze. Yeah, you can do it at the same time also. But when you do different parts, you get a little extra something. So we did the front part. In your next cycle, use the back. Squeeze at the back. You'll manage. Try it. Sorry. So if you've observed, the sound seems to have increased. So that means some old stuff from somewhere is trying to come up. Remember the tennis court. Lungs inside surface area is the size of a tennis court. We don't know what is where. So we need to move as much out as we can. So you've done this. Take a break. Take a few slow breaths. Observe how you feel. Observe what has changed in your breath. If there is any constriction, any irritation in the throat, etc., clear. Clear your throat and and out. Okay. In the first class, only 2 huffings I was able to do. Today I can do 3 or 4, says Veena to everyone. Okay, very good, very good. Yeah, so as you continue, obviously your capacity, the way you do it is going to change. It's going to show improvements, and that's a good thing. Thank you. So do this one more time. I think you should have done it now by about 10 times or so, the whole cycle, and that's okay. Take a break. And now we will do the squeeze a little differently. This time the squeeze that we are going to do, I call it the Krishna's flute. I call it the Krishna's flute because in Krishna's flute, there are seven, or in any flute, there are 7 holes, right, which are played. So now this time, do the squeeze chakra wise. So start with the Mooladhara chakra, gentle squeeze there, then at the Swadhisthana area, then at the Manipura, then at the Anahata, Vishuddhi, and then if you can, try also the Agya. It's a very, it doesn't happen for everybody, but try it. So try the Krishna's flute with the squeeze. Yeah. So, sir, will the huffing affect on eye pressure? It can. If you add too much pressure, it could. So you have to listen to your body. You have to do according to what your what your body dictates, in a sense. If you feel any kind of pressure and it's not comfortable, slow down, take a break, try again after some time, and see how it goes. Yeah. So were you all able to practice the Krishna's flute? Were you able to do it? Any sinuses problem comes, Veena, it is meant to clear your sinuses. So it cannot add to the sinus problem. It should help clear any sinuses. Chitra says tired. Okay, but I was able to do it. Vijay Lakshmi says, okay, very good. Okay. Yeah, so Chitra, if you are tired, take a break. Listen to your body. Yes, Padma, should we squeeze from the front part of the body on this flute squeeze? If you can get like a, like a complete squeeze, if you can get that, great. If you don't get it, whatever is working, build it up slowly. Try over some time. I love this because in a sense, it also helps to activate your chakras. So you are adding a little pressure at different levels. You're squeezing in a certain way at a different level and throwing out air at the same time. It helps clear certain blockages also at the chakra level. I could do till the Vishuddhi chakra, not till the Agya. That's okay. That's okay. No forcing anything. Yeah, very good. So try one more time. Try Krishna's flute one more time. Remember to keep your body relaxed between every cycle, or in even every huff. You do a huff, your body, your muscles tense a little. After that huff, as you wait a moment, relax it all. Ah, all that was making the music is coming out now. Okay, very good. Actually, don't know where the chakras are in a body. So Chandrika, Chandrika Devi, the Mooladhar is at the base, which is uh, the part where the anal opening and the genitals meet. That is where the uh, Mooladhar is. You don't have to do a Mooladhar chakra squeeze. You have to do a squeeze in that area, just general. The Swadhisthana chakra is a little higher at the genital level, more or less, a little higher than the anal level or the Mooladhar level. Manipura is just below the navel, the belly button, just below that. That is the Manipura chakra. The Anahata is, the place where your lungs, no, where your ribs, that little soft portion where both the ribs, both sides, more or less, that is the Anahata. And the Vishuddhi is at the throat. I hope that's clear. It's creating some vibrations in the head, Vijay Lakshmi ji. If the vibrations are pleasant, there is no reason for you to worry. If the vibrations feel unpleasant, stop, wait, try again after some time. Okay. Anybody else about the Krishna flute? And Chandrika ji, are you clear about the chakras now? Okay, very good. So when we squeeze Agya chakra, the Vayu expected to travel. So travel from up to down. See, there are channels inside your system for everything. You do the squeeze, let the channel take care of where it has to go. Naturally, it has to go down because you are now expelling air. And when you're doing the squeeze, it will come down. And as it is coming down, it will start clearing different parts of the vagus nerve. I don't know if you've heard of the vagus nerve. It runs all through the body. And the more active the vagus nerve is, the better your senses function, the better your whole body functions, the better your whole system functions. So when you do this, it helps, in a sense, getting your vagus activated at different levels. So please do that. What happens in case we swallow the phlegm? Nothing happens. It comes out through the digestive system. Squeeze one after other, all 7 chakras in one huffing. Not in one huffing. In one huff, you can't squeeze all the chakras, Prakashji. You have to squeeze one chakra with each huff. Somebody said, I can't see the name very clearly, felt Moola Bandh happening automatically while squeezing at this chakra. Okay, no problem. Yeah, so Vijay Lakshmi ji, you haven't told me if the vibrations are pleasant or unpleasant. So please observe and share. Okay. Why is the vagus nerve important? Neha, good question. I'm so sorry. The vagus nerve is so important because it connects the brain with all the organs in the system. I feel there is a connection between the Sushumna and the vagus nerve. Sushumna is probably the central most part of the vagus nerve, but I cannot say this definitively. It's just a sense I have, but no more than that. Vagus nerve is considered important, like I said, because it connects all these, and the whole system functions much better when the vagus nerve is active and operational. Also, it helps you to get into the parasympathetic nervous system easier. I don't know if I've shared information about the autonomic nervous system and its two parts, which is the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. I'll share the article. Most of you are in the group, so I'll share it in the group. It will give you a good idea. Padma is asking if we can squeeze the Muladhara or the Swadhisthana only. See, there's no problem if you squeeze together, but if you squeeze each one individually, you'll get a little better results over time. Okay, so the vibration has vanished for Vijay Lakshmi ji. Okay. Okay. Fine. So I think that's pretty clear. All that singing, that sound. Coming up. I'm sorry, this is not very pleasant to look at, but this is a course and I see no problem with that. Pinky Soni, the vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the autonomic, yes. Little thicker than normal, which means it's some old stuff that is coming out. Yeah, Pinky ji is sharing some information. I'll read it out to you. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve of the autonomic nervous system and is one of the most important nerves of the system. It is one of the most important nerves in the body. The vagus nerve helps to regulate many critical aspects of human physiology, including heart rate, blood pressure, sweating, digestion, and even speaking. For this reason, medical science has long sought ways for modulating. Yeah, the Western science has become aware of the vagus nerve only very recently. They didn't understand it earlier, but now they're beginning to get a sense of it, and it's a good thing. Okay. Vibrations in the whole body, literally moving, says Anjana ji. Excellent, very good. As long as it's not unpleasant, excellent. We'll continue use of huffing technique, reduce the phlegm formation over time. Okay. Will continuous use of huffing technique. No, the huffing technique will not reduce the formation of phlegm, Vijay Lakshmi ji. No, Chitra. It will not reduce the formation of phlegm. It will help you expel it. That's better than holding it inside. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay, so today I'm going to give you something very interesting, but I think we'll have to wait a little. Let's do our complete yogic breath. But while you are doing the complete yogic breath, take a minute, somebody is saying. I'll just read the comment. Don't mind. Cigarette smokers के लिए वरदान है ये. Ashwini ji. Okay, but better vardhan, bigger vardhan is no smoking. Like I've quit 40 cigarettes. A lot of phlegm coming out. Excellent. So in one of my talks earlier, I had mentioned something about the three dosha. I hope you remember. I'm going to share this briefly today so that you can include this in your practices as you go along. You can do it also while you are doing your complete yogic breath and the squeezes. Here, the basic thing that you will do is when you inhale, let the inhale come from wherever it is coming. Let the inhale come from wherever it is coming, but in your mind, you focus at the navel area, at the Manipura area. Focus as if you are drawing in energy from the navel, from the Manipura area. You're drawing in energy from there. At first, you may not sense too much. Once you continue doing it for a while, you'll actually feel that there is a inflow of something at that level. Continue doing this. Do this as much as you can whenever you're doing your normal breathing also. And my formation of phlegm has come down almost 90%. I'm still forming a lot of phlegm, but compared to what it was earlier, it's down almost 90%. Again, you can't be accurate with these things. These are only estimates. So just take it with a pinch of salt. It took about 15 days and I started feeling it's come down substantially. That's when I started writing about it, talking about it. And I've shared a few pieces in my groups and on Facebook, etc. So sit down, stay relaxed, keep your whole body very relaxed. And as you breathe in, imagine you are drawing in energy from the navel area, through the navel area. That is the Manipura area. If you get a sense that it's a subtle kind of a breath coming from there, excellent. If you don't get that subtle kind of flow, doesn't matter, continue trying it. Hopefully it'll start working for you. I have only tried this on myself. I have not tried this with anybody else, or I have not shared this with anybody else in a large group. So I don't know what kind of results people are going to get. Start doing it. But when I these things with you, I expect you to give me some feedback. I'm sharing this knowledge, this information, these practices, but unless you share also what your experiences are, how does it become of use? How does it become useful to others? So your experiences, your comments on these things are very important. Please do not be miserly with your comments and your testimonials on what is being experienced by you. You have to observe and you have to be generous. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Tripanna is saying phlegm is still coming. That's very good. More the phlegm comes, the better. So no problem with that. But when you do this dosha, the tridosha, I have yet to give it a name. I'm going to think of a name and give it later. But when you do it for the kapha dosha and you draw in energy, in a sense, through the navel area as you are breathing in. So sometimes when we meditate, we sit down in meditation and we imagine or we visualize light coming down from the Sahasrara. It's a standard practice. Everybody knows this. You do that, no problem. Even as you're drawing in energy, light, or whatever else you visualize through the crown and taking it down all the way to the Mooladhara, also draw in from your Manipura. Shweta Bisht, I am feeling like I am a phlegm factory. That's a phrase I use for myself. That's a phrase I've used for myself for a long time. So I can totally identify with your issue. Don't worry.
Water is coming out from my eyes, nose, and lot of phlegm.
Oh, so there are all these blockages that are getting released. Let it come out, throw it out. It'll feel uncomfortable for some time. Let it go, let it go. Don't hold it back. Let it go.
Yeah, thank you.
Abdominal breathing is your basic breath. It's your foundation breath. So always, whatever is being done, okay, Radhika says some internet problem. Okay, doesn't matter. So abdominal breathing is your foundation breath. Everything you are doing based on that, you're building everything on that. At times you have to use your stomach muscles, and that's perfectly all right. As long as you use your muscles and then let them be, let them go, relax them again. Huff, you tense your muscles, relax them again. When you do the complete yogic breath kriya, as you are breathing out, as you are exhaling, there may be a little push in the stomach area, there may be a little pressure there. Once you've done the one exhale, relax, wait for a few moments, again exhale. So then your belly aids you in that. You know, when you are relaxing your belly each time, it aids you with the further exhalation. Excuse me, I'm also expelling a lot of phlegm. Okay.
Can I just ask a question, sir?
Yes, please. Yes.
Actually, I have been suffering from excess phlegm formation from last 4 years, and that has last 4 years. I've been creating so much of phlegm that has been a biggest problem, and it never comes out. Also, it's created somewhere deep within, and I only have to keep on swallowing it. That was a problem, and that's how they have detected ILD for me. But this kriya you were saying is extremely important for me to reduce the phlegm formation. So I'm ready to experiment in for 15 days. So what you said, I have tried to do. So you slowly inhale, and while inhaling, you find some energy.
You're drawing in energy
At Manipura.
You are drawing in energy.
How do we exhale, sir? I want to know more details. Like after you draw the energy at Manipura chakra, how do you exhale? Then you exhale it slowly. Same.
No. Once when you inhale from when you take in energy from the Manipura, let it move through your system. You are able to move your energy to the Muladhara and up along the spine, right? So do that. Let it move inside you. That's all you have to do. You have to draw it in and let it move with the breath. Nothing else. You are not going to give any other treatment to this. It will become part of your breath in a sense. It will move with your breath. That is all. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay. So once again, take a slow, deep breath. And as you are drawing in your breath, visualize energy coming in from the Manipura area. If you like, you can visualize fire, gentle fire, not too much. We don't want to burn you out. So you can visualize fire, heat coming in through the Manipura. Hold your breath and then start the slow exhale. Stop. Continue. Stop. Continue. Stop. Continue. And then squeeze a little. So those who are doing the dosha balancing for kapha, they can keep visualizing energy coming in even as you are exhaling, as if the flow of energy continues from the Manipura area. Just a little bit of visualization there. Okay. Okay. Slow exhale. Meghna says in the full yogic breath, the last expel, it becomes an Ujjayi breath. See, there is a little bit of Ujjayi from the very beginning because your tongue is already touching the roof of your mouth when you are breathing in. So there is that Ujjayi aspect to the breath anyways. Chanchala, I couldn't make out with respect to energizing Manipura. Should we inhale and then draw? No, it's a simultaneous thing. As you are breathing in, you are also drawing in energy from your Manipura. Imagine heat energy or fire or gold, the light of the sun, as if you're drawing in that energy from there. Does it reduce? No, I've told you very clearly at the beginning. This is to balance the kapha dosh. For vata dosh and pitta dosh, I'm going to share techniques later. I'll probably do a different session for them, but this is not about vata and pitta. If you have a pitta constitution, please don't do too much of this Manipura visualization. Please don't do it because it will increase your pitta. Don't do that. This is for kapha. Please understand this very clearly. This is to balance the kapha dosh. I'll say it again. Triparna says, I'm feeling a little heat near the navel region. If it's a little heat, it's okay. It will increase your fire tattva in your body. No problem with that. If it is too much, oh, you are a pitta. No. So stop it, Triparna. I told you in the beginning, this is to balance the kapha dosh. If you do not follow what I'm saying, if you do the wrong techniques, you may unnecessarily cause injury to yourself. It's not a big injury, but why go to any situation that compounds the problem? So please, pitta walas, no, don't do this technique. This is only for the kapha walas. This is tried and tested on me. That is why I'm sharing this with you. And if you have a kapha dosh, if your Ayurvedic doctor or practitioner has told you that you have a kapha imbalance, then it's going to help you. Others,
excuse me.
yes.
Can
Chanchala.
Vata people can do, sir?
Water people.
Vata.
Vata
Vata
people. No.
Vata.
See again. See,
Yeah.
Vata people, if they do it, maybe you will end up creating pitta. So don't do that. I have told you very clearly, this is for the kapha. Please use it for kapha. If there is a buildup of cough, if there is a buildup of phlegm because you've got a cold, you try it for a few days, leave it. That's it. This
And
is
how
not
about
for other kind
allergic? How about for
sorry?
allergic persons? Allergic persons?
Allergy is a kind of heat. No, Chanchala. Why are you mixing up things? I told you very clearly, this is for kapha doshna.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Yes. I was told my doshas are balanced, then I can moderately perform this. Yeah, if your doshas are balanced, if there is no imbalance really, then you can try it once in a while. When you suffer from a cold, yeah, you can try it then, no problem. What if we don't know our constitution? If you don't know your constitution, but your body is producing a lot of phlegm, then chances are that there is at least a temporary imbalance, kapha imbalance, at least temporary. So during that period, you can try it, otherwise not. How many rounds? See, if you are a kapha person, I do this breathing for a large portion of the day. When I go for my walk, whenever my attention goes to my breath, I practice this because I have suffered kapha and phlegm issues for a long time. And because I've been doing so much of it, I feel that it's come down by 90%, which is saying a lot. There is no rounds, it's just how much time you spend. Breathing should always be relaxed. So it's not a question of, like milestones that I have to do so many. Because when you start doing that, then the relaxation goes out of your practice. So it's not about that. I am Vata plus Kapha. So is it okay for me? Shiny Bhat. Okay. It is okay for you when your Kapha is more active. When your Kapha is not more active, don't don't do it then. So you must get in touch with your body. If you feel that now I'm getting a little more Kapha tendency, then do it. When you are more in the Vata, then leave it. Yeah, so let's continue with the breath. The complete yogic breath for those who are uh, afflicted with the kapha dosh, they can do this additional thing that I've shared with you. When I first began to experiment with this, it was an experiment because I didn't know what was going to happen. I used to do my other pranayam, etc. And then I noticed that one out breath could just go on for such a long time. So then at one point of time, I started doing the squeeze inside, and I wasn't sure what the results are going to be. So I was very observant. What is happening inside my body? What is changing? Is it hurting something inside? Is it creating some problem inside? And then I noticed that there was really no uh, nothing that I could perceive, no contraindication, as somebody used the word. There was no contraindication that I could perceive. So I continued, and then I saw that it was helping me expel my phlegm much better. So my breathing became better, and so on. And then as I practiced, understood the technique a little more, then I started sharing it in my Facebook groups. Veena, sorry, my internet dropped. You were talking about what type of breathing? We were talking about complete yogic breath with what I call kapha dosh balance, or an additional something to balance the kapha dosh. So that was targeted only for those with the kapha dosh. Okay, very good. Yeah, so please continue. Those who do not have the kapha dosh imbalance may continue with the normal breath. Add the squeeze. Now I've shared numerous kinds of squeezes with you. You have to learn to experiment with the squeezes on your own. Try different things, see what is working better, try to understand why it is working better, and so on. Padma is asking, can I repeat the Manipura technique once again? Yeah, I will. So if you are a Kapha dosh type of person, your body creates a lot of, produces a lot of phlegm. And as somebody else said, the body feels like a mucus factory or a phlegm factory. Then obviously you are a Kapha type of person. Then it's very disturbing. You know, it's not a pleasant a feeling to produce so much cough and then you need to expel it and so on. So what I found was I was able to balance my dosh simply by adding, when I would breathe in, I would, as if I'm drawing an energy from the navel area, from the Manipura chakra area, as if I'm just drawing an energy. It's a very subtle kind of a feeling. As you continue doing it over a period of time, you might notice that there is actually a subtle something moving in. And as that starts happening, your dosha starts getting balanced. Your kapha dosh starts getting balanced. It has worked for me. My phlegm, I used to take Ayurvedic pills. I used to take Shwasari, you know, the Patanjali thing. Shwasari, yeah. So I've given up all the medication. I'm on 0 medicines. No medication at all, nothing for pressure, nothing for phlegm, nothing for anything, only breath work. Breath work is my doctor. Yeah, I'm expelling some phlegm a little more today because we did different kinds of squeezes, which I haven't done for quite some time because I was feeling that my body is relatively free. But today, as I started doing it and I started making that wheezing, you know, that whistle kind of a sound, I knew that something needed to come out and it's coming out. So I hope that is clear. I think my son must have put in the Google form. Please fill it in. Kishore, those who haven't filled up earlier, those who have filled up earlier don't need to fill it again, but those who haven't may do so. Kishore Reddy ji, please repeat the Manipura technique. So the Manipura technique, as you call it, is to balance the kapha dosh. So for example, when I'm doing the complete yogic breath, I draw in the breath, let it come wherever it's coming from, but simultaneously I draw in energy from the Manipura area. You can visualize it as some sort of heat coming in, you can visualize it as golden light coming in and so on. It's a subtle intake of something coming in through the Muladhara, coming in through the Manipura. Keep drawing it in and keep letting it flow with your breath. Down to the Muladhara, up along the spine to wherever it's going. Keep doing that. And each time, even while you are exhaling, you can continue to imagine that that energy is coming in through the Manipura area. That is the basic technique. Yeah. Anybody else? Any comment? Anything to say? Any questions? My oxygen absorption has remarkably increased in these days, Vijaya Lakshmi. That's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear this. Because of COVID, a lot of people have suffered, in the sense, sometimes they knew that they have contracted the disease. Sometimes they didn't know because the body may have dealt with it, but it has affected lungs and many other organs. But by doing this breath work and different kinds of breath work, if your body's oxygen absorption increases, you are aiding the whole system to perform better, to function better. So if that is happening, that's very good to know. Please write about this, Vijay Lakshmi ji, and share it in the group so that I can also share with other people and you can become a source of inspiration. How to know oxygen absorption has increased, Anjana Tandon? You have, nowadays it's very common, every household you have this meter. It's called an oximeter. You just stick your finger into that oximeter and it gives you a reading 97, 98, 9900 or whatever. So if it is 98, 9900 now, and earlier if it was lower than that, it means it has increased. If it is similar to what it was earlier, that means it's pretty much the same. If it has come down, you know it has come down. So that is how. But if you have been watching your oxygen absorption for a long time, you will obviously feel the difference very clearly. I hope that answers your question clearly. Anyone else? Anything else?
Sir,
Yes.
the long breath, a complete yogic breath, how many times do you suggest that we should do?
I suggest doing it at least 15 times.
15 times.
Do this 15 times. And like I shared in my session yesterday, if you are catching a cold or if you're beginning to feel a little sniffy, if you just do the complete yogic breath without the hold and expel and squeeze, even without doing this, you will get very good results as far as the cold is concerned. You will not catch it very as badly as it normally would be. So even if the cold comes, it won't affect you so much.
So this Manipura Chakra drawing the energy, I'll do the complete yogic breathing 15 times in the morning and 15 times in the evening in the session.
Great.
And with the huffing and also drawing from the 4 lobes of the lungs, also and the chakra healing, also you do 15 times?
See, at the moment, whatever I've shared, do it the way I've shared with you, because if you do all of it together, it may just put too much strain on you. So you can do a little, and then as you become more comfortable with it, combine a few more, do a few more, and so on. This is how I've built up my practice. I would combine different things, and the major thing that you've seen here is the stop and exhale without the inhale. Stop and exhale. Just doing this numerous times clears the lungs of all stale air. Now, obviously, as the stale air is leaving, it's going to take something along with it. So do that. Shalini Bahal says, I have joined from today. Where can I find the previous videos? Please guide. Okay, so the videos are on YouTube. You leave your details on the Google form that is attached to this chat session. Write your details there and I will send you the information. I'll add you to a group as well. And I will send you links to the previous video sessions. Okay, anybody else? Any other? Felt appetite has increased a little bit in the last 3 days. A good appetite is a good thing. Okay. Geeta ji has a question. Yes, Geeta ji, go on. It's a direct message. So how do I access the direct message? I don't know how to go to the direct message.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, while huffing or doing yogic breath, I am not getting phlegm at all. No phlegm.
Once again? Okay, no phlegm.
No phlegm.
Okay.
While doing yogic breath,
Okay.
at that time also, no phlegm.
Okay.
So what's the reason?
The reason is your body is not kapha type. You don't have too much of congestion in the lungs, and maybe your nadis are also fairly clear. But as you continue over time, some of it will come.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
It will also depend on how intensive your practice is.
Okay.
Sir, can I do the huffing being a Pitta person, Triparna? I don't see any problem with that, Triparna, because you are not increasing the fire element when you are doing the huffing. So that should not be a problem. But if your body tells you that it's increasing your fire element or the Pitta dosh, then stop for some time, at least for a day, couple of days, and then try again. Chitra Punraj, sir, a basic question. Yogic breathing is just a belly breathing without huffing. No, belly breathing is a little different. In belly breathing, your in breath moves the belly out breath moves the belly in. That is belly breathing. The complete yogic breath, you fill up the whole system with breath. So it's like you fill up the lowest portion, then the middle portion, and then the highest portion up to the shoulders. You fill the whole thing up with air, with breath, with prana. And in my system, you exhale, you try to exhale from the Mooladhara up along the spine. This is very good to start opening your Sushumna. When your Sushumna starts opening, if you like, your Adhyatmic journey begins in right earnest. Once your Sushumna opens, now you are on the Adhyatma highway. Until your Sushumna opens, you are still in those lanes, lanes by lanes of a crowded city. Once your Sushumna is open, freeway, highway. And what is the term they use nowadays? The one that has absolutely no obstructions. The freeway is what they use abroad, but we have another term for that. Anyway, whatever it is. Okay, anything else? Anybody else? Yes.
Expressway, Rajesh. Can you call it
Yes,
expressway?
Mamiji, yes. I'm so sorry. Yeah, go on. I can't hear you.
Who, me?
Yeah, you were saying something.
I said expressway.
Yeah. Expressway, yeah, expressway, correct. Thank you. Expressway. Yes, Smita ji, you were about to say something.
So I was saying
Shiny,
same
but
thing.
I'll answer you later.
I was saying the same
Okay.
thing, sir.
You were saying expressway as well. Yeah, right. Thank you. Yeah. So once the Sushumna is open, the expressway is now available to you, or you have taken the ramp, entered the expressway, and now it is up to you how you go ahead. Obviously, this is an expressway that needs to be continuously maintained, looked after, and breath work is the best way to maintain it. Shiny Bhatt, what are the signs that the Sushumna is starting to open? Very good. The signs are you will start noticing subtle changes in almost every aspect of your life, in almost everything, in the way you react to situations outside, for example, in the way even your voice will start changing a little. It'll start getting a little something. You'll notice, when the Sushumna opens, the voice quality changes quite substantially, and numerous other things happen. I see, the idea of opening the Sushumna is not to get these little lollipops along the way. The idea of opening the Sushumna is to take the highway Atma to Paramatma. That is the purpose. If you stop midway at one of those areas and you get lost in the by lanes again, it'll take a lot of effort to come back on the expressway again, the Sushumna expressway. It gets blocked. So Sushumna opens, great. You have to keep it open. Do your breath work. And in yoga, it's very clear. Yam, niyam, pratyahar, asan, all of it is part of it. So it's not as if your Sushumna is open so you can throw the yam and niyam to the birds or whatever. No, it becomes even more important. You've got to become even more careful about your actions, about your choices. You've got to become more of you. You have to come out of this limited physical entity that you see yourself as. Your identity needs to expand to include more and more and more. Expand so much that your other identity, which has been taking up the whole space, becomes smaller, 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 and so on. That is the purpose of Sushumna opening. Any other questions? Anything else? Yeah, sure. Thanks. Okay, so let's do our 3 ohms and then sign off for today. Slow, deep breath in. One more point I'll make about the Sushumna. So along the Sushumna, there are the 7 major chakras. Think of these 7 major chakras as 7 major cities. So you are going along the highway, you come to city 1. Do you want to stop at the city, go around the city, and so on, and so on with every chakra, you know. You can go if you like, if you're sure that you won't spend more than a couple of hours or a couple of days and you are able to come back to the Sushumna, continue your journey, fine. But if you get into the by lanes of each chakra, that means you're getting caught up in your karmic things again. Getting caught up in the karmic things means you are again entering the slide or a whirlpool which will keep pulling you down. So what is the point of going up 2 steps and going up 1 step and coming down 2 steps, or going up 2 steps, coming down 1 step? Make the most of it. Use it well. Thank you all. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful evening. Namaste. Ram Ram. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rajesh ji.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Shraddha ji.
much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Momiji.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Please. Yeah, thank you. Please share. Please share your experiences, etc.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you,
Thank you.
Narendra ji. Thank you. Namaste all. Namaste all. I'm ending. Namaste.